Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for end of season media availability with Executive Vice President and General Manager Tom Fitzgerald. Please send me a note in the queue and I will add your question. We'll start in order of which we received the questions, and we'll lead off with Amanda Stein, NewJerseyDevils.com. Go ahead, Amanda.
Hey, Fitz, how you doing?
Doing great, Amanda. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I was thinking about how at this time of year last year, it had been a while since we had all spoken. And I'm just wondering if you could go back to last year around this time, could you have possibly imagined that this would be when we were doing our end of season media availability, and what that tells you about what your team was able to maybe accomplish ahead of schedule?
Well, we knew we were going to be better. You know, we said that last year. We felt that the underlying numbers of our team in 21-22 showed that we were progressing into a good team. With average goaltending, what would this team be able to do? So yeah, we knew that, but we also identified areas of our team that we wanted to improve on. We wanted to add experience, depth. So I think we checked all those boxes. Then go into the season. I think the season really was defined early on our team retreat, when we all got together as a team from players, coaches, trainers, staff, like really just laid down what was important to us and how do we get there, and the input of everybody. It was a very collaborative experience going through that, and it was great. And I think that set us up for a real good training camp. Well, training camp happened, and then this set us up the start of the year, and not the start we wanted, but we just believed in what we were building and what we built upon from coaches meetings to rookie camp to training camp to this outing, that we were going in the right direction because there was a lot of belief. The culture we talked about, the things you permit or what you promote, what kind of locker room do you want to have, what kind of coaches room do you want to have. So that was a big step. But to say we'd go on a 13-game winning streak, we'd have 112 points, 50+ win. No, I didn't. I thought we would be in a position where we were scratching and clawing for a wild card position because of the things we did in the off season, what the young kids experienced, the steps that they would take, our core players. So that's the long-winded version of your question, but it's no, I did not expect this. And here we are, middle of May, and it literally goes right into our scouting meetings, which usually we have to wait a month before scouting meetings. So yeah, it's a little different.
Does it feel like, we've always talked about this idea of like the window to win, like all teams kind of talk about it. Does it feel like with the talent you have, what you guys accomplished this year and how young everyone is, that the window maybe opened a little earlier than you would have perceived, or, just thinking about how long that window could possibly be, knowing what they accomplished this year?
I think the window's just opening.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure for the group, this young group, our organization. Again, I'd be lying to say I thought it would start this early, the season we had. Moving forward, our expectations are high from everybody, and that's what we were trying to build, is get to a place where players expect to win. Coaches, our team, our hockey ops, our scouting department, and our fans. They now expect us to do what we said we're going to do, and that's the fun part of sports. How do you continue to grow? How do you continue to develop? How do you get to the next step? Sure, 5 games playoff series against Carolina stings for everybody. But we're trying to look at, okay, how do we get to that next level? But let's not forget on how we got to where we are.
What do you know about your group then that allows you to have that faith that whatever that next level is can be achieved, right off the bat next year, and drives them to want to do that?
Well, it's a resilient group, as we saw over and over again this past year. We saw it even last year at times. I think the will to win, I think the character we have, the culture that's being built, expectation wise. I just think that room believes that, this group can achieve more, achieve better. By doing the right things, understanding how to play, what playoff hockey is all about, the differences between regular season and playoffs. You gotta, again, people have to experience it to understand it, and I think that's what we did this year. My hope, my belief is that our players will learn from this and understand it, and pay forward.
Thanks, Fitz.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Amanda. Our next question will go to Mike Morial, NHL.com.
Hey, Tom, thanks for doing this, and congrats on a really fine season.
Thanks, Michael.
So Tom, right there, you spoke about building and believing. Lindy Ruff played a big part in that with this group this season. I'm just wondering where he stands with the organization now as his contract as coach expired at the end of this season.
Where does he stand? Well, then he's a Jack Adams finalist for a lot of reasons. The work he put into it, his coaching staff put into it, and obviously the players that executed that strategy. So 4 years ago, or whenever it was, I was looking for the right coach for this organization on where we were and how do we get to where we want to go, and watch the development of our players, our core players, and how they've grown. And as we went along here, I've always said Lindy Ruff was the right coach for this group. So here we are today. He's still the right coach for this group. He's earned that right. He deserves that. We deserve him, to be quite honest. And he's a great partner for me, and those kids love him. There's no such thing as a perfect coach. But he's got the utmost respect from our players and from us and from ownership. It's just he's still the right guy for this job.
So just to confirm, then he will be coach.
He'll be back behind the bench.
he will be. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. One more here for you, Fitz. How much value is given as a GM when considering impending UFAs and RFAs, when you have playoff games to evaluate as well with certain players? Or is it just kind of all relative to what a player did over a full regular season in playoffs?
It's the body of work, Mike. It really is. We've had some guys who had great seasons. Maybe production wasn't there in the playoffs. You just hope there's going to be growth there, and I do believe it. I mean, there's no reason to believe there won't be growth because of what we've seen with all our players and all our young players that are maturing. It really goes. It is the body of work, Mike. It's the 82 games, which is a grind. It is a grind, and then obviously the grind of a playoff series, a playoff game, man, not just a series, but it's so hard to win 4 games in a series. So it's everything for sure. It's the body of work.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Our next question will go to James Nichols of the fourth period.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for doing this. Congratulations on a excellent 2022-23 season.
Thanks, James.
My first question is, you alluded to the goaltending a little bit earlier, saying that you received, what would happen if you received average goaltending? Was there any question in the postseason as to whether or not you felt, maybe heading into this summer, maybe we need to strengthen that area of our team?
We got actually above average goaltending, good goal. I thought V had a really good year. He won us a lot of games. Kara Schmidt came in and showed the promise and the poise in his game to give us promise moving forward. McKenzie, a couple injuries, but we know what he could give us when healthy, when in a rhythm. I was actually real happy with our goaltending this season. Playoffs are it's a different beast, as you guys know that. Hey, you take away some power play goals from the Rangers early, we don't know V looks like. But we couldn't kill the penalties. That's what happened, so we pivot, we go to Akira. Akira gets on an incredible run. The guys played better in front of Akira. They'd be the first to tell you. There was less rush chances. We did a way better job killing penalties. We're in the middle of, again, evaluating our team. It's still fresh, James. It's still fresh here. Like it wasn't even a week ago. Our season we were done. So we're going through all that right now. We've got really good people. I think our goaltending is, especially V, he's very hard on himself, and you love that about an athlete. So yeah, we're just going to evaluate. I'll evaluate with Marty Brodeur and Dave Rogalski and Lindy Ruff, Scott Clemenson, all the people involved with our goalie department.
And Eric Howler was pretty forward about wanting to return. He said that at exit interviews, he said to you right away, let's get it done. Is there like a pecking order here for you as to maybe who's the most important here, or what are the most important needs as to returning next season, and maybe what the least important needs here are, and how high is Eric Howler on that list?
Well, I'll start by saying I would make that trade 7 days a week, twice on Sunday. He was the player type that we needed to help us, continue to move this ship forward. Yep, he wasn't hiding how much he wants to come back. Told him his agent, I will sit down, we will talk. As far as pecking order, no, because every piece is so important. Mike McLeod's contract's up. What does he reprice at? Yeah, his piece may be like this versus, hey, Jesper Bratt's piece or Timo Meyer, but they're all important pieces. I'm trying to build a team here, and I'm not just trying to build individuals that play an individual game. The best teams obviously play as a team. And that's what we're trying to strive for. So no pecking order. Like I said earlier, we're just starting our pro and amateur meetings, but going through what our roster may look like, what players possibly could be back, what players possibly won't be back, what players may outprice us because of where we're at cap wise. What does one player want that leaves the crumbs on the table for somebody else? We're going through that. Like I said, this is still fresh. Sit down with David Blitzer, Josh Harris, and Tad Brown, and just go through where our brains are going to be and what we're looking to do. But I go back to putting the right pieces into place here is the most important thing to me, to keep building around the edges of what our core looks like, and try to build the best possible team we possibly can.
And the last one for me here is just on Luke Hughes. What did you see from him in his short sample size, and do you anticipate he'll be part of the full-time plans next season?
That's the plan. My eyes aren't painted on. I watched him play in Game 5, and I saw him lead our D corps in ice time, and I also had to continue to look and say he's only 19. Wow, future's bright. Future's bright with Luke Hughes. He's a mature 19-year-old. He understands it. I think the thing that I really enjoyed watching was, one, his patience, the way he worked in practice, especially during the first round. We got a glimpse of Luke Hughes the last couple of games of the regular season. But what a team player. There was never one, hey, let me in, let me play. Never heard from his agent, anything like that. It says a lot about the kid's character. So supportive of all our players. He was part of the team, and that's what we wanted him. We wanted him to experience that, be part of this group. Hey, you know what? We needed something different in the Carolina series. We needed somebody who could actually back pucks, use their legs, and help with their forecheck. And he did that. What I really enjoyed was, after Game 4 and watching video with the team, because I do that often. And watching the corrections and the different strategies that we were trying to put together for Game 5, and there was a lot of mistakes by Luke. That's okay. There were a lot of mistakes by everybody, but what I really enjoyed and was encouraged by was how Luke fixed those thought process and puck management in Game 5, and how he rebounded. He didn't play poorly at all in game 4. But man, he was really good. And I'll say this. I want to go back to talk about Lindy again. And after game 4, it would have been easy to just put Ryan Graves back in, or Smith, or keep Ball in. But Lindy went right back to Luke Hughes because of what he felt he could give our team. Instead of waiting and thinking, he left game 4, a little negative taste in his mouth because he made some mistakes and he didn't play, and we go all summer and all training camp. Lindy played him, and then he played him the most. Ryan McGill, controlling our defense. I think we created something really special in that young player by playing him. And again, that's just something Lindy Ruff does. He believes in these young kids. He believes that the next step, if I play him and show confidence, I think he created a future star for us by playing him in that one game.
Thanks, Tom. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thanks, James. Next question go to Ben Burnell, Utica Rome Daily Sentinel.
Hey, Tom, just wanted to ask you about another young defenseman that I think has a future in the organization as well, and Shimon Nemitz, and kind of where you see him fitting going forward after a solid rookie year in North America.
Yeah, he did. As an 18-year-old, the American Hockey League it's a tough league. It really is. We thought the strides and the steps that he made this year were huge. It's a learning curve. There are games where I'm sure he understood things that coaching staff wanted him to do differently. He applied it, and you saw a glimpse of what our future looks like. What does that look like? It's very bright with a player like that and Luke Hughes. And we've got the villain kid. He's got a bright future as well. What are we doing with Simone? Listen, there's no rushing this player. My guys tell me he's going to come in and he's going to push for a spot. And that's all you want. You want to see that growth. You want to see that development. It's a huge summer for a young player like that. As an 18-year-old turning 19, it's a big summer for him. And the gains that he can make in the summer, strength-wise, is only going to help him become the best player he possibly can. But we don't forget that he's only 19 years old, and what will he look like when he's 22, 23, 24, 25 is it's exciting to say the least.
Wanted to ask you if there was anyone else whose name got brought up in terms of players that spent the majority of time in Utica that your staff is kind of raving about after this season.
Well, Nolan Foote. I think he's the example of proper player development. He's a kid that scored goals from the outside in junior. He does have a hell of a shot. I think with our guidance and help through our development team, our coaches down there, Dan McKenna, who runs Utica, educating him on what type of player we felt he would be, what he would look like at the NHL level and how he would be successful, and try to help him reinvent himself. He scored 20 goals this year at the American Hockey League level, but you look at he played center. That's incredible for a kid who's really never played center. He's got good size, his skating's improved. He showed well when he got called up here. He's a real good kid, but he was committed to it. And that's all you ask. So when I look at player development, I look at where he started, where he was, and where he's going. And I give all our credit to our staff, our coaching staff down there. But most importantly, Nolan should get a lot of credit as well, because he accepted it, he's thriving in it, and we have big plans for Nolan.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Ben. Our next question go to Ryan Novozinski, NJ.com.
Hey, Tom, how you doing, man?
Doing great, Ryan. How you doing?
Good, not bad. Obviously, in the past, you've described Jesper's contract talks as being challenging. I just wondering, do you anticipate, it being a similar challenge this summer, and how's that going so far?
We paused the talks prior to the playoffs, which I think was the right thing to do. There's definitely progression for sure. There's definitely a framework of a deal to be done long term if Jesper wants that. Jesper knows exactly what that framework looks like. I know Jesper wants to be a Devil long term, and so do we. He had a tremendous year. Nobody doubted that he wouldn't. He did. He's part of the fabric here, part of the core. We want to get this done. I don't anticipate contentious negotiation. I think his agent knows where we're at. So probably put the ball back in his court, and we'll touch base here soon. I haven't yet. Like I said earlier, this is game 5 loss is still fresh, going through what we went through this weekend and really rolling right into our scouting meetings. The business side of it we'll get back on track here shortly.
And I guess, similar thing with Timo too, obviously another RFA on the roster.
Yeah. No, I reached out to his agent just to say, let's touch base. We got our scouting meetings this week. At the end of the week, just start going. Timo's we knew this, we knew going into this, that he's 1 year from being a UFA, but just felt like, what we could offer players, have them come in and experience it, that we feel that if winning and being on a future good team is important, then this isn't a bad place to be. Plus all the other stuff. I've said this over and over again. I think it's a hidden gem here. I really do. I don't think many people know about it until they experience it. It's our job to educate agents and so forth. Best messaging is from our players to other players around the league. Word of mouth. But it's a great place to live. It's a great place to play. And then on top of it, I do think we're going to be pretty good as we move forward. So, wanting, I just want people who want to be here too. They have to want to be here for the right reasons. Understand what we're trying to build. I said it earlier. Some players' pieces are a little bit bigger than others, but doesn't mean those smaller pieces aren't important. I'm trying to build the best team possible. Timo Meier knows that I believe this is the right place for Timo. And he and his agent and I will talk and go through this and hopefully try to figure something out long term.
Tom, is there any concern at all about Jack's injury at all? I know that he.
No, nothing. No.
Okay, yeah, and on Ruff too. Are you able to reveal how many years his extension is?
Nope. He and I will sit down. He's the right guy for our job still. He's just I think Lindy Ruff's a Hall of Fame coach, to be quite honest, for what he's done over his career, longevity. But he's a Hall of Fame person, and I'm proud to call him a friend. And like I said, he's the right guy for this job.
And on Andrew Burnett, and we saw some reports out there too that some of the people in your front office too might get we're receiving interviews. Just wanted to get your comments on that if you're worried about any potential turnover here in the organization.
Well, I would say this, Ryan. I think you start believing you're a good organization when other organizations start calling you on some of your people. But I don't worry about anything like that. I just worry about my job, and that's to find really great people who are passionate about their craft and want to be part of something special. So that's all I can control.
And last few for me, Tom, with the UFA defensemen that you have in Graves and Severson, is it a little bit more challenging kind of working out their deals, knowing, what you have in the prospect pool there, all those, really great, talented defensemen?
For sure. Listen, Ryan, I'll go back. Probably the thing that I thought would keep me up at night, as approaching the deadline as a team that was scratching and clawing, but really it'd be the last year for this organization to collect future assets, right? And then where do you go? Like if you're starting to move a piece or two, and maybe a kid, it wasn't, developing the way you thought to take one of these spots from one of these guys. But something funny happened on the way. At game 50, we realized we're not going to be sellers at the deadline. Actually, we may be buyers, and that's exactly what we did. So these UFAs, they've earned the right to become unrestricted free agents. They've had great young careers up to this point. What does their future hold here with this organization? Their agents and I will talk, but they put themselves in a situation where they have, maybe some opportunities. I don't know, but you know what? Like I said, at game 50, I realized we won't be selling because I don't want to take away from what this team has accomplished up to this point. And I got the blessing from my bosses that we just keep plowing through. Let's just get there and let's try to win.
Tom, a lot of recent off seasons, with this franchise have, seemed like pretty big splash kind of, look at the free agent market oriented in this franchise. What is your mindset kind of going into this one?
Again, looking for the right pieces, how we want to play, we play a fast, aggressive, in your face, up ice. We are a good rush team, trying to find ways to get to that game. Speed's a very important piece of that. So, like I said, Ryan, like we're literally going through that right now, kind of debriefing on the season, what holes we may lose. How do we fill those holes? What type of players we want? What are the characteristics of those players that we believe we need? And it comes back down to finding the right pieces to help build out this team. But the one thing that is for sure is that there's a strong core in New Jersey that allows me to build around.
And last one is, just on the draft, what are your kind of early thoughts on that? Maybe some positions that you want to deepen there, and what you might be thinking about that.
Well, the mandate is to find, the players with the highest upside and, what those probabilities are of being able to hit their upside. The amateur draft is so hard to project. It really is. I trust my team. They put in the work. They're on the road. Through video, like we don't have a first round pick. That doesn't mean we won't get one, but we have to be prepared that we do have a first round pick and just continue to go through the right processes to find the right players. And they're working hard. They're down there right now working hard.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you.
Bye, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. We have 3 more left. Go to Anthony Fusilli, MSG Networks.
Hey, Fitzy, how you doing? Question for you. The euphoria of the Rangers series and the sting of the Carolina series. Can you give me just an overall thought process? Did the euphoria maybe push into the Carolina series? What were your overall thoughts on maybe why it didn't go more than 5 games?
I will say I wish I had the in-between time that Dallas and Vegas have right now, or had, sorry. I wish we had it back then, what they have now. It was such an emotional, for everybody, our fans, our ownership, our management, our coaches, our players, like it was such an emotional series. Winning in game 7 and such a high, and then knowing you got to go home and pack for the next 5 days because you're leaving the next day to start another series the day after is it was quick. I'll say that. I think there was a bit of a hangover for sure for all of us. Can you steal a game out of there? One. I do think that had an effect on our first 2 games for sure.
And moving forward, the playoffs, you need a little edge, you need a little sandpaper. Do you think you have enough on this team right now to move forward?
But that's a magical question. I think what playoffs tell you are there players who usually don't play that way, do something out of the ordinary. You saw Jack Hughes throwing his body around. You saw him blocking pucks, blocking shots. Like, that's what playoffs are all about. So to go out and find a certain characteristic, because that's what wins in playoffs. Again, we're trying to build, we'll build around those edges, you know, on what type, but we do have a lot of type players like that. I mean, look at Timo. He's a skilled power forward. I thought it was a menace physically in the Rangers series. But we do have a lot of sandpaper. Maybe we just need a little bit more consistently coming out of it. And maybe this experience for first timers shows that it's not a switch. It's got to be turned on every single game. And if it goes 7 games, it's got to be turned on. So, but we're going to go through that. Like, we'll have replacement lists for potential guys who won't be coming back, what the characteristics look like in those players, and just keep building the right team.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Fooch. We'll go back to Mike Morial. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Tom, thanks for hanging in there. I know you've been tremendously busy with your club since the end of the regular season, so much going on the next 2 months, but I was just hoping, any thoughts, Tom, on the team you once played for in Florida, the excitement there? I mean, they haven't reached this point since you played with them in 95, 96.
Well, I appreciate the question. And you know what, like, I'd hope to think every ex-Devil looks upon what we accomplished this year and be proud of being part of this organization. And I'm very proud of being an original Panther. Those were the best days of my life. 2 of my boys were there. One of them is actually on the team, which is pretty ironic and fun. And actually, I'm going down there. I'm going to game 3. He wants us to come down, and he's not playing. We may play, who knows, after games 1 or 2, but yeah, I'm going to go enjoy it with him. And it's just, you know what, I'm a hockey fan too. But I'm proud to be an ex. Proud to be an ex. I had 7 teams, so I was proud to play on all those teams. But Florida really holds a special place, and that was a special year for us, for sure. A special year for the fans, the organization, and yeah, it's been a long time. I think they've worked their way to that. That looks like a special group down there that had a scratch and claw at the end of the year to get a place in the playoffs. So yeah, it's been fun to watch. And like I said, I kind of live vicariously through my son too, who's on the team, or he's part of that team.
Thanks for that, Tom. Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Mike. Our last question, we'll close it out going back to Amanda Stein. Go ahead, Amanda.
I'm just wondering, we didn't touch on it, but obviously Andre Palat had a bit of a tough year with the way the surgery and all that. I just want to know what you thought of his season, and maybe more importantly, the impact that he was able to generate off the ice, given that he did miss so much, and kind of what your expectation is going forward, because I'm sure that was really tough for him coming into a new team for the first time in 10 years.
It was, and he and I would speak often during his rehab, and all I said was, even if you're not on the ice,
mm-hmm.
your presence is very impactful.
Right.
You know, guys look at him differently. They admire what he has gone through. They respect him immensely. So just having, and I asked him, I wanted him to be in meetings. I wanted him to be around. No, he didn't travel, but he was involved. I know Lindy used him as a resource on a lot of areas. I know Lindy would tell me the first, maybe you already said it, like there were times even in the playoffs or even prior to like he would ask him to speak to the group. He had an impactful year with us because of how he impacted all our players in their games, even though there was a bunch of time that he wasn't on the ice or on the bench with our players. I just think as we move forward, it's just only going to get better with Andre Palat. And again, like I said, there was a focus and a reason to bring a player like that in, and he fulfilled all that.